I still hear that whistle sometimes, even now, when the street is quiet and the lights goes out. It sounds soft, like a child trying to get someone's attention. Just fee, fee. But when you turn around, there's nobody there. The first night I heard it, I thought it was nothing. By the third night, half of the people of my streets were gone. My name is Tunde. I live in a small town called Araba near Ibadan. It is not a big place. One main road, one fuel station, one school, and a market that only fills up on Saturdays. People here knew each other. We greet everyone even if we don't know their names. Until that year, Araba was quiet. Nothing strange ever happened. Then the whistle started again. It began after the new borehole was dug behind the old primary school. Some men from Lagos came with big machines, saying they were helping the community get clean water. The elders warned them not to dig too deep. They said that the land used to be an old burial ground before the school was built. But the men laughed. "Elder, we are using modern equipment," they said. "There is no spirit in the soil." They ignored the elders and dug anyway. On the third day, the water came out, clean and clear. The whole town celebrated. People bought jerry cans, filled their buckets, and thanked God. Everyone was happy until the first person disappeared. Her name was Mama Funke. She sold puff-puff at the junction right beside the borehole. One evening, she packed up her table as usual, counted her money and went home. The next morning, her house was open. Her light was still on, but she was gone. No one heard a sound. No one saw her leave. The only thing strange was that her slippers were at the door, but one was wet like she had stepped into water. People said maybe she traveled suddenly, or maybe she had family problems. But 2 days later, another person vanished. This time, it was Bode, the ninth guard at the school. And that was the night I heard it first. It was around midnight. I was coming from a friend's house after watching football. The road was empty. The moon was full, bright enough to see my shadow. That was when I heard it. Fee, fee. It came from behind the borehole. A slow, soft whistle, like someone calling a child. I froze. I called out, "Who is there?" Silence. Then it came again, closer this time. Fee, fee. I wanted to run, but my legs refused to move. I could feel cold air brushing the back of my neck. Then out of nowhere, I smelled something strange, like wet earth and something dead. I turned and ran. I didn't stop until I reached my compound. That night, I didn't sleep. And in the morning, news spread that Bode, the ninth guard, hadn't come home. They found his flashlight and cap near the borehole, but nobody saw him leave. The police came from town. They searched everywhere, inside the school, behind the borehole, even inside nearby wells, but yet they saw nothing. They said maybe it was a wild animal, maybe kidnapping, maybe something else. But then more people disappeared. A week later, it was 3 students, 2 boys, 1 girl. They were last seen near the borehole, washing their school shoes. Their buckets were still there till the next morning, but they were nowhere to be found. By that time, fear filled the whole town. Nobody went near the school after dark. Parents started keeping their children inside. And every night, people said they heard the same sound somewhere in the distance. Fee, fee. The elders gathered and said the land was angry. They said something had been sleeping under that ground long before the school was built. Something the borehole had woken up. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was just fear making people imagine things. But one night, I saw something I would never forget. I was inside my room when the whistle came again. Faint, soft, but this time right outside my window. I froze on my bed. The air felt heavy, like the world had stopped breathing. Then I heard my name. Tunde. It was my mother's voice, but my mother was sleeping in the next room. I stood up slowly and looked through the curtain. Outside, near the borehole lights, I saw a shape. It looked like a woman, but her legs were not touching the ground. Her head was bent forward, her hair covering her face. Water dripped from her body, forming a dark pool beneath her. She turned slowly, and even though her face was hidden, I knew she was looking at me. She lifted one hand as if to wave, then she whistled, "Fee! Fee!" I screamed and fell back. When my mother rushed in, I couldn't even talk. By morning, my fever was so high they thought I would die. 2 nights later, the town chief called a meeting. He said the elders had gone to consult the oracle. The oracle said something had been disturbed when they drilled that borehole. It was the resting place of a river woman, a spirit that had been buried a long time ago when the land was dry. The oracle said that she wanted her tears back. Everybody was confused. What tears? The elders explained. Many years ago, when Araba had no water, people used to go to the river to fish. A young woman lived there. Nobody knew where she came from. She had strange eyes, always wearing white, always quiet. The men said she cried every night by the river, and wherever her tears touched, fish would die. One day, they said she lured a man into the water and he never returned. The villagers attacked her and buried her alive by the riverside. The river dried up years later, right under where the school was built. So when the borehole men dug that spot, they must have touched her grave. That the water that came out was not ordinary. The elders said we had to seal the borehole and offer sacrifice, but some people laughed. One rich man in the town said, "All this superstition, it's just borehole water, let's test it." He took a bucket home. He used it and cooked rice that night. By morning, his whole family was gone. The pot was still on fire, the rice untouched. Only wet footprints led from the kitchen to the streets. That was when everyone started leaving town. Those who could afford transport went to stay with their relatives. Those who could not locked themselves inside at night and prayed that everything would be fine. The whistle kept coming. Dogs barked at every empty spaces. Phones stopped working after midnight, and every morning there was always one person missing. After a week of silence, the borehole stopped flowing. The water turned dark, thick and foul. The government men went back to fix it. We begged them not to touch it. They laughed again. They opened the metal pile. The first thing that came out wasn't water. It was hair. Long, wet hair. The men ran. By the next morning, their truck was still parked there, but none of them were seen again. I left Araba that day. I didn't pick much, just clothes and my phone. As I walked to the bus stop, I saw the borehole standing silent under the sun, tap dripping slowly. Each drop made a tiny whistle when I heard the metal bucket below. Fee, fee, fee. The sound followed me all the way to the main road. Now, years later, whenever I hear a whistle at night, my chest gets tight. I've moved far away. I've changed my number, my job, even my name. But still, sometimes I dream of that woman, standing in white, her hair over her face, whispering my name. They say the borehole was closed and covered with sand, but travelers still avoid that side of the town. They said no birds fly there, and some nights if you pass that road, you hear it again. Slow, soft, and cold. Fee, fee. You might think this is just a made-up story, but remember, in this life, the spiritual controls the physical. Not every warning is a joke. We may live in a modern world, but spirits are still real. Always respect signs, always respect old warnings, because some spirits, once they are woken up, they never sleep again. So guys, please stay safe, and please, 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 my people, please and please, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I promise to bring more exciting and educative story every week. Please subscribe. Please, I beg you, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I love you all. Bye bye. See you next week. Mwah.